Are you in the market for a budget giant folding cleaver? If so, I think you might really like this knife. If not, then you probably won't like it, but I hope you still stick around and watch the video anyways, because I like hanging out with you guys. I like talking about knives. My name's Carter, here with Edged Mindset. We're taking a look at the OKnife Sentry L1. When I first saw this, I thought it was Sentry Lee, but it's Sentry L1. Picked this up on a whim. I saw somebody mention this knife or show this knife on TikTok, I think. Thought it was interesting. I love cleavers. I'm just into cleavers, and I love big, obnoxious knives. So I'm like, boom, no brainer. I got to go check this out. I checked it out, picked it up off Amazon, and it's quite affordable. It's like 60 or 70 bucks. Obviously, you could get it cheaper on secondary market. Maybe there's places, sales and stuff, you can get it even less expensive. But, $70 for a knife this size with the materials and the quality where you can just go out and get it for like 60, 70 bucks. I think that's a pretty good deal in my book. So I have done a little bit of research since my unboxing video. OKnife is related to O-Lite. So it looks like the company that runs O-Lite decided to get into the knife game and source themselves some knives to kind of offer under that brand name of OKnife. Now, this is just some conjecture on this company. I've been in this game long enough that I'm pretty good at kind of gauging what's going on with company offerings and things like that. So it doesn't look like OKnife designs these knives. They didn't create these knives, right? That's what my gut tells me. I don't have any facts to back that up. But based off of their company model, based off of the knife models that they have, they all kind of seem like what they've done is they've probably reached out to a knife manufacturer, picked some models that they make or can make, and are just branding those as OKnife, because there's not a ton of carryover in the knives that they're offering that really speaks to any sort of cohesive design. This one has a lot of kind of futuristic, cool looking, aggressive sort of, I don't know the right word, but kind of an interesting design factor to it, which is what drew me to it. But a lot of the other knives are just more standard, right? They've got some with an axis lock variation, and they're fine. They look fine. I'm sure they're decent knives, but they don't have kind of this interesting look like this one. Because I got this and I actually really liked it, and I'm like, cool, maybe I should go pick out another one. Maybe there's another one that kind of catches my eye. And there really wasn't anything. All the other knives are a little more plain, a little more standard, and they don't have any sort of overall kind of design language or anything, which to me makes it seem like they didn't design these knives, right? They're just kind of branding them as OKnife. But that being said, that doesn't take away the fact that this is a pretty cool knife. Let's jump into specs. This is a big boy, like I mentioned at the beginning. If big, overbuilt, kind of heavy-duty knives are not your thing, you're not going to like this. It is 4-inch blade. Overall length is like 9, almost 9.5, 9.25, we'll call it. Very large knife. Let's do some width measurements here. See how thick we're dealing with. The blade thickness on this is 0.15. Handle width 0.58. So not too bad. Let's do a comparison with Paramilitary 2. Get kind of a cool size comparison there. And then let's do one more. Let's do the Kaiser Sheepdog XL. Very similar. So if you like the Sheepdog XL, these two happen to be similar visually as well, but very similar in size, these two knives. Both great knives, by the way. Blade stock, it looks like the OKnife is a little bit thicker, but quite similar, and pretty similar cutting edge too. This one's just got the sheep's foot, a little bit of a curve there, where this is the Cleaver butcher style blade going on. It's two materials. So blade steel is D2. Depending on how it's heat treated, it could be good or it could be not so good. Haven't had a chance to run this through any sort of rigorous testing, and I haven't really heard what their D2 is like. But at this price point, D2 is not bad. I would much prefer it was the Where do they have it on here? No, wrong side, right there. The DC53 would be a better choice. DC53 is basically just souped up D2. I would have preferred that. You can get that steel in knives of this price point. However, usually you're ordering directly from China, whereas this is obviously has a USA branch to it. You also get this really cool patch right here with this Komodo dragon on there. I have no idea what the Komodo dragon has to do with this knife, but I think Komodo dragons or monitor lizards are just cool. So big thumb up on this one. I like that. OKnife has a US branch, and so they're marketing it more to standards of like Kaiser, right? So my point with that is just that there's cost there. So you're not going to get quite as good of a deal with something like this, which this is a China brand. And so if you want Shoes knives, you have to order from China, from a marketplace in China. They do not have a US, Shoes US as of right now. Whereas OKnife and Olight, they do. They're pretty prevalent here in the US. They sell a lot here in the US. They've got a US branch. And so you're not going to get quite the same economy of cost as you would if you ordered direct from China. Don't know why I went on that tangent right there. D2 blade on there. It's got a cool finish on it. It's got that dark stonewash type finish going on. It's got a lot of cool features in terms of the design. I like this step into this opening hole, which is nice and big. It's got really good jimping on the back here. Very, very aggressive. I was surprised with that. And then you can also kind of put your thumb up on this part that swoops in. I really do like this kind of, it's not a swedge, but this cutout on the top here. Looks cool. It's a stylish blade. And in my opinion, doesn't go overboard. That's a little subjective. Some people might think it goes overboard, but I think it's in the confines of a reasonable looking blade. Nice and chamfered on all the edges here. It's done very well, very striking. You've got a choil right here that is big enough to actually put your finger in without kind of clipping that edge right there. Very well done. Hardware, you got T6 screws. I wish they were T8. A little bit too small for my liking. I did take this apart. And no issues, no stripping. They seem like they're heat treated correctly and quality screws. You've got a proprietary front here that is captured so that if you unscrew it, it's not going to spin on you. That's a good touch. I think it looks good too. It's a custom proprietary pivot, but it's not overdone. G10, that's nice and chamfered. Big chamfers here, and then it's nice and smoothed out and knocked down on the edges. High texture. So this thing is grippy. We'll get to ergonomics here in a minute. Same thing on the back side because it is a liner lock. Open construction with blacked out pillars. I like that all of the hardware matches the color scheme. There's not any weird silver poking through except for this stop pin right there. Stop pin interface is on a flat surface. However, I would prefer it to be shouldered. It is not. So it is the flat back of the blade that's making contact. It is a nice, big, thick stop pin though. So that's a plus. It also acts in the closed position. You can see how it has a groove. Cuts into the blade, which allows you to get this flipper nice and high, which allows the action to work very, very well. The action on this thing is superb. Multi-row bearings going on in here. Drop shut, you can see it, you can get it to actually bounce off that stop pin. Very well done. Action is really, really nice on this. You can flick it open, reverse flick it open. Everything works. The thumb flick is a little awkward because the hole is so big. You almost get too much of your thumb in there and it almost sticks a little bit. But overall, nicely done. Lockup is perfect. Nice thick steel lock bar. Chamfered on the inside here. It's easy to get to that lock bar. Nothing sharp. I don't have any issues slipping off. You can see how it sits proud of this scale here. Really like that. One of my pet peeves is when these are flush and it feels like you can't quite get your thumb in there or you're just about to not be able to. Ooh, that bugs me. Big lanyard hole. You can put anything you want through there. 3 pillars, as I mentioned. Deep carry pocket clip. Blacked out. Here is the logo. OKnife on the back. It's fine. Ergonomics. Ergonomics are good. I mean, they thought through this. Like your fingers fit in those big chamfers. Your thumb kind of comes down on this piece right onto that jimping. The ergonomics are better than I was expecting, especially for a knife like this. Are they perfect? No. I mean, you get a little bit of hot spot here, kind of depending on where your fingers fit. This one kind of lands right on that edge unless I scoot back a little bit, which isn't my instinctual way to grip it. My instinctual way to grip it is up a little bit higher, and my finger kind of hits that ridge right there. If I scoot back a little bit, it's way more comfortable. So this may vary depending on the size of your hands, how you like to grip the knife, how long your fingers are. So overall, I would say better than I expected. I was not expecting good ergonomics on this knife, and it's way better than I expected. Not perfect by any means. Let's talk value for the cost. $70 for what you get here, particularly the fit and finish and the action, I think is on point. I wouldn't call this a steal of the century or some sort of, it's amazing that they have this at this price type thing, but it's also not overpriced by any means. So I think it's a fair value for what you're getting. If it had better steel, then I think it would push into the, you know, the arena of what are you guys doing? Get off your butts, go pick this up, go check it out. Not quite there, but close. Is it cool? Is it cool? I think this thing is really, really neat looking. That's kind of what struck me when I first saw it, is it looks like a knife kind of punching above its class in terms of design, to me. Now, it might not be your cup of tea. I know there's going to be people in this video that are screaming at the screen, I hate those kind of knives, those big, chunky, ugly knives. I think it's dumb. That's fine. But for what it's trying to be, the big cleaver style tactical blade, I think it's got a lot of design flair to it, a lot of cool choices, and something I don't normally see at this price point. Usually at this price point, things are played a little safer, and they don't really have some cool things going on, in my opinion. So that's why I liked it, right? I love cleavers. I like big knives. So I'm like, I want to give this a shot. I haven't heard much about OKnife, and I'm glad I did, because it is pretty cool. Whenever I get a budget knife where I actually find myself carrying it around, fidgeting with it, throwing it in my pocket, I know it's a good one. Because normally budget knives, I just don't have the attention span. I'll get it, I'll check it out, maybe I'll do a review, and then I kind of put it away. You know, I don't really do anything else with it. This one I have been playing with and taking out quite a bit. So means there's something there for me at least. Let me know what you think down below. Is this something you would ever possibly consider getting? I think it's a good choice in the price range, but what do you guys think? Till the next video, I'm out.